Okay. Here's a question from Wai Chung, who is one of our emotion code certified practitioners in the UK, who says, I have a question about inherited emotions. I'm picking up inherited emotions about 25 to 30% of the time. I'm told that this is much higher than average, but I have checked thoroughly and used various muscle testing and dowsing techniques, and it comes back as correct. Is this something related to me as a practitioner? And if so, how can I change that? Should I change it? And the answer is no. I would not change that at all. Typically, we'll find an inherited emotion, I would say for every 10 regular trapped emotions we clear, we'll find one that's inherited. If you're getting a lot more than that, okay, consistently, don't worry about it. The ancestors apparently have found out about you. And so what they're doing is they're using you to help clear all of this ancestral garbage. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be cleared from this world before this world is going to be able to move into the next level of existence, and we're all going to have hearts knit together as one, and there won't be any more war, and everything's going to be great. But there's a lot of work to do to get to that point. So the answer, why, is no. Don't worry about that. Just go with it, and that's awesome. Okay, let's see. I think as far as releasing inherited emotions, I got a question from John. It says, are you releasing inherited emotions differently than before? The only thing that's different now is that we're still using the 10 rolls of the magnet or the fingertips down the governing meridian. The only thing that's different now is that we're trying to hold an intention to release that trapped emotion from any soul that's holding on to it, either living or dead. And when we do that, what seems to happen is if a child, for example, of yours has inherited an emotion that you pass to them, and we're working on you, it'll usually release it from the other people as well, including siblings of yours that might have picked it up. So you can test to see who picked up this inherited emotion before you release it, and then hold that clear intention when you're releasing it, and then come back and recheck, and you'll see what happens. We've always known that it would release from the person that you're working on, and on their father or mother, and all the way back, however many generations it goes, without any trouble. But now we're finding that if you just add this one thing, that you hold that clear intention to release it from anybody, that you can have good results there. Okay, so let's see here. Next question. Excuse me. This is from Ann Thornton. Have you ever worked with children that have cystic fibrosis, and if so, what kinds of results have you had? And the answer is yes, I have. And honestly, I remember working with one particular child, but it's been so many years I don't remember exactly what went on. I'd have to go back and see if I could find it in my records. But the reality is, again, if you look at it, and remember, any kind of disease process is the result of these imbalances that occur in the body. And if you can figure out what the underlying imbalances are, that's the important thing. See, the symptom, that's not the important thing. That's just the body manifesting the symptom. That's just the body saying to you, hey, by the way, I've got some internal problems going on, and don't pay any attention to what it looks like. These are just the symptoms. The reality is, what's important is the underlying imbalances. And the body code and the emotion code are the ultimate best ways, I believe, breakthrough technology, really, to find those underlying imbalances. So I would not be afraid of working with a child or anybody else with whatever kind of issue that they had going on. I would never make any kind of a promise to fix or cure anything. I would just try to find those underlying imbalances, and you can do the same thing now. Okay, let's see here. Here's one from Sandra, and we're getting down to the wire here. She says, can you expand a little on post-hypnotic suggestions? I have a client that we have isolated this to a beat in a certain song that was played repetitively at age 12 for him, but how do I remove a beat versus a single statement? Can you give some suggestions? Thanks. How do you remove a beat? Well, that's a good question. I would ask if you can release it and see if you can release it. And I don't know. I'm not familiar with this. I haven't really heard of that before. But that I think that's how I would do it. Have you ever just used your hands instead of a magnet? Absolutely, all the time. In fact, if, for example, I'm doing a radio show or something and I don't have a magnet handy, I'll just use my fingertips. If I have a magnet, I'll always use a magnet. That's how I do it. But if I don't have a magnet, no problem. I use my fingertips. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, no problem. And that works for you, or if you're working with somebody else, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, may I print a session form to give my client from your downloaded binder, or do I need to create my own? No, you can go ahead and print one of those pages from your binder, no problem. And Joan says thank you, and you're welcome, Joan. Let's see here. Oh, here's one. This is from Y, who says, I have a PC that does not have a disk drive. Is there a version of the body code mind map that can work from the hard drive or the USB stick? And the answer is absolutely yes. All right, if we go to Healer's Library, okay, you'll notice I'm logged in here. Okay. Now, if you own the body code, what you can do is you can go to this area, the body code, and if you're logged in, our system knows if you own the body code or not. And if you own the body code and you're logged in, you'll be able to go to the mind maps right here. Okay. And also, guess what? You can download the mind maps now right here. So you just click right there, and it takes you to a page on box.com, and you can just download those mind maps and get them right onto your system. Okay. So no, everything's going wireless, and we're trying to keep up with that. Okay, so here's one more question. When we clear people's heart walls who are smokers, I'm finding 2 of my clients continuing to smoke. Okay, I do realize this is one of the most difficult addictions to heal. However, I would love to hear your views on smoking and whatever else we can ask to assist the client to stop smoking. Maybe it just comes down to making a choice about it. Thank you. Okay. Well, this is from Sherry. This is a great question. And the answer is you want to clear that addictive heart energy too. See, if you clear the heart wall, but you don't ask about the addictive heart energy, it'll probably still be there. It's not going to go away, okay, unless you clear it. And so it'll just sit there and help to drive those addictions. But also what you want to do is you want to ask and think out of the box. Ask outside the box, is there anything in the way of you being able to quit smoking, for example? Okay. Are you okay with quitting smoking? If the answer is no, fix whatever shows up. Okay, so here's a question from Joan Hughes, who says, why is it okay to clear from a sibling without asking permission? Well, that's a good question. You know, the inherited emotions, if it turns out, and if you're testing and you find out that it's let's say all your siblings have inherited this emotion, you go ahead and you clear the inherited emotion, and you hold the intention to clear it from any soul that's holding on to it, living or dead. And in this case, basically, if they're not okay with letting it go, then it's not gonna release from them. So it's kind of a little bit of a gray area with these. Okay, so Sherry says, so when we remove a miasm in a person since it is inherited, are we removing it from the ancestors as well? Ooh, yes, absolutely, Sherry, we are. So think about that. We're helping those ancestors wherever they are, and I could tell you some stories that could really be quite amazing. Now, Forrest asks this question: can miasms be mental in nature, like depression or bipolar? And the answer is that if there was something that was creating the depression or bipolar symptoms, like let's say, for example, great-great-grandpa had a huge trapped emotion of anxiety from World War I, okay, and it was creating depression for him or leading to this bipolar issue, then the distortion from that energy essentially is what's passed down. So hopefully that helps. The miasm is kind of an interesting thing. So the question there is sort of a qualified yes. Okay. Okay, awesome. All right, so here's a question. This is from John, who says, can a person cleanse with more than one parasite cleanse, VRM supplements, at the same time? Okay, well, the answer to that one, I wouldn't recommend it, no. What I've done with people, the worst case I ever saw was a girl who, she'd been to the Philippines, and they had to fly her home. She was very ill. They didn't know what was wrong with her, but they gave her 4 months to live, and she survived for 4 years. When she came in to see me, we found she had about, I don't remember, I think she had 9 different parasites living in her body. And what we did with her was, and by the way, we went through all 4 of the VRM supplements over the course of that year, okay, that we were trying to get her well. And we would put her on one, and we put her on VRM3, for example, for a while, and then she would test that she needed a different one because she would have a different parasite hatching out or something. So, but we never did them simultaneously. Okay, we would always be one of the 4 at a time. Okay, it seems that there's sometimes a particular order to clearing events and emotional energies Have you found this also? And the answer there is yes. Sometimes, sometimes there is an order to things. Sometimes there isn't, or sometimes the order is an order that you just don't understand. Okay. So can some other modality be used instead of T3, say EFT tapping, Reiki, theta healing, etc.? Are there any differences or suggestions when working with addictions? Okay, I think I've been over that already. And the answer is yes. If you're trained, for example, in Reiki or theta healing or EFT or whatever it is, you can test for those and see if that's what the person needs. I mean, and then that's the beauty of this work, is that you can really kind of incorporate it into whatever it is you're already doing. And you know what? Unfortunately, we are out of time, and I got in trouble last time for going way over. So we really do need to close this. But what we'll do is we'll hold on to your questions here that didn't get answered, and we'll put those into the next Q&A webinar, which we're going to be having in a couple of weeks. Okay. So I want to thank all of you. I wish I could unmute everybody and we could all chat here for a second or say goodbye, but we can't really do that with the system the way it is. So I want to thank all of you so much for being on the call, and I just want to remind all of you that that together we're among the forces of light in this world, and there's a lot of darkness in this world, and a lot of it has to do with sickness, and a lot of it has to do with emotional baggage and everything else. And we are finally at this new dawn where we are realizing that our bodies have the answers, and that it's actually simple to find out why we're sick and what's going on. And while we're always going to have a need for medical doctors and surgery and drugs and so on, there's so much that we can do for ourselves. So I just want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for the work that you're doing, and the force for good that you are in the world. This world is going to change, and we're right at the tip of the spear for that. So don't get discouraged. Hang in there. There was a scripture that I read once, and I'll see if I can remember it. It gave me a lot of strength during the time that I was trying to develop all of this. And it said, "Be not weary in well-doing, for you are laying the foundation of a great work. And out of small things proceedeth forth that which is great." So remember that, and that's what each of you are doing in your own lives with your own healing work. You're laying the foundation for a great work in your own life and in the lives of all those that you'll touch. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.